With the world in a lot of economic troubles and depression, most markets haven't been doing the greatest. If we look at the Bitcoin price trend, for example, we see that in the last 6 months it has been doing quite bad. If we look at the stock market and take the S&P 500 for example, it has also been negative in the last 6 months, although less than Bitcoin. The price trend is perfectly logical. We are after all in a bit of a crisis and we have loads of inflation at our hands. At these uncertain times, less people feel comfortable in the market and thus sell, or less people buy in at such a time. When we have less people buying and more people selling, the prices go down, which is perfectly logical. That's how the economic system works. When we first heard all this news, we all expected the same to happen to the CSGO market, especially even more because it's luxury items. People, when they need more money, aren't gonna have as much money into a game, right? Well, no, not at all. Nothing is less true actually. If we look at the best indicators for the CSGO market we have, which is the breakout case, we see a 69.2 increase in price in the last 6 months. Comparing to the Bitcoin, which is at a big loss, and the S&P 500, which is at a small loss, 69.2% profit is just insane, right? And that isn't just one case, that isn't just a fluke. So why has this crisis had almost no effect on the CSGO market? And has the market actually spiked? Let's talk about it. First of all, I need to say that investing is always at your own risk and you should only invest what you can afford to lose, otherwise you can get into some trouble. That being said, let's look at some price trends for the CSGO market. Another great case to look at is the glove case, which went from 1.4 euros to 2 euros in 6 months. And it isn't just those cases. Almost any responsibly priced cases that are discontinued have done profit in the last 6 months. The Spectrum 2 case did 100% profit, the Gamma 2 case did 82.5% profit, the Chroma 3 case did 170% profit, the Revolver case did 127% profit, and the Danger Zone case did 200% profit. And these weren't expensive items, they were cents, they were less than €1 all of them, which meant anyone could buy them. I could go on and on and on, but I think the point is clear. If you had CSGO cases in the last 6 months, you basically made profit. And it's not like you would have had to have a crystal ball. We knew 6 months ago that all those cases were a good investment and that they were discontinued. Well then, why don't more people invest into CSGO? And why does this market outperform every other market in the last 6 months? Let's look at that. First of all, the CSGO market isn't bound to anything IRL, which means it is less like a real stock market, although in the last 10 years that the game has been out, the market has grown a lot. And it's nowadays a $1 billion industry. Yes, billion. The first reason that the market has done better than any other market is the fact that selling your items is harder to do than in an average market. Most people use the built-in market from the game, the Steam market. The problem with that is that Steam takes 15% transaction fees, which is fine for most casual players who just have a couple skins and don't care about the money, but for big investors that's a deal breaker. Of course those people use other sites and services with way lower fees, but most people don't. It does however mean that if an item goes down 10%, almost no one will sell out of fear for a lower dip, since selling would now be a 25% loss with the fee included. This creates a market where people don't sell at a small loss, which means the dip can recover faster. And since the market has always recovered and gone higher than the last year, every single year, people just say, oh, I'll just wait till the next spike and sell then, which means higher spikes and less people selling. And since people keep doing this, it keeps repeating itself and the spikes keep going higher and the dips don't go as low, which means people keeping their items don't sell and the price doesn't go down. Another reason for the better price trends than the stock market and the crypto market is the fact that a lot of people like the investments they have. Either it's a nice skin they also use in-game to play with, or just an expensive item they love a lot. Either way, they like having it and or flexing with it, so it goes down a bit, they still like it and thus they don't sell it. This means if people hear a recession coming, they sell stocks or crypto, but usually not their skins, since they already had them anyway and they already liked them. You don't hear people saying, oh, I bought this stock, I have a lot of this stock, it's cool, I love this stock. No, they talk about profit percentages or numbers. It's usually not about liking something. I mean, with the new NFTs that is kind of there, but that's kind of a different thing. Also, the people who invest into CSGO or have skins and items in the game usually live in quite wealthy countries, meaning their expendable income doesn't get used up by basic amenities as often as possible, which leaves it open for investing or buying some nice skins. With all these positive notes, it seems like a perfect option, but obviously only a very small percentage of the population is actually invested into CSGO items. So why is that? Well, it comes down to the nature of this market. It is a seemingly niche market for in-game items that have no actual physical value. But people still pay up to €1,000,000 for them? Yes, actually they do. The fact is that this market is quite young, and it hasn't been around long enough for people to see it as a great place for investing. Also, it is bound to a game, which means if people stop playing this game, people will stop wanting skins for it and thus a risk to lose a significant amount of money. Even though Valve has managed to keep the market running for 10 years, and it being at an all-time high right now, we don't know how they will do this in the future, and for how long the game will exist. That being said, Valve will do almost anything to make the market keep existing, because the game contains cases that can be opened, which gives Valve hundreds of millions of euros each month. And without the market and without skins having actual monetary value, less people will open cases and thus Valve will get less money, which they absolutely don't want that. Of course, no one can predict the future, but if I had to choose between the rampant inflation in a lot of currencies or putting money into crypto/stocks that are already heavily invested, I prefer to choose a market that runs on the money from young people playing a game and a company that wants to make a lot of money. Of course, CSGO isn't a good option for everyone, and for a good reason. The CS market has a lot more risk than the two other markets, but even those have risk attached to them. In the CSGO market you can make a lot more money a lot more quickly if you know a lot about CS and all the items in the game. But if you already have a lot of money and you just want it to not lose its value or get a couple percentages, I get why you would choose, for example, the S&P 500 for a couple percent increase in a year, but more security that your money is actually safe and you won't lose it all. Investing in crypto or in stocks is also a lot more easy to do and a lot more easy to get into. You have to know a lot less. Nowadays there's a lot of apps that just help you. With CS it's a lot more difficult and a lot more complicated. You have to know a lot more, but that is the reason that you can make a lot more. Overall, I have very high expectations from the CSGO market in the next 10 years, as more people get into the virtual markets like NFTs, crypto or skins. We definitely have an exciting future ahead of us. And remember that CSGO skins are older than most crypto coins these days, like Ethereum for example. Now, if you are considering investing into the CSGO market and you don't have a lot or any knowledge about this market, please do some research first. Look at a lot of different videos from different creators and look at different item options for investing in. Also, don't put a big amount of your budget into it. Just try it first, see how it goes, and then you can slowly expand. But I do think after all that if you need a place to store some money and you don't trust the market and you don't trust the money that you have, CSGO items are definitely not the worst place to put that money. If you want a good beginner tutorial from me, check out this video with 10 easy tips you really need to know. If you want to know why I think the market will go a lot higher and we will have a lot more growth very soon, check out this video. If you want to know why I think cases are still the best investment ever and also quite safe for you to try even if you don't have a lot of knowledge about it, check this video instead. That was it for now. If you're still watching, you are truly awesome. Thank you, goodbye.